Hello, and welcome to another episode of Jaxon Talks Everybody with me, your host, Jaxon Stone. We're back at the Elite 5 Tool Fit baseball facility. We're just going to keep rolling. And I'm joined by a Division I baseball player.
Yes, sir.
Newly committed.
Yes.
But we just met very recently, about, I want to say maybe a month or two ago.
Yeah,
right?
Just about. Beginning of summer.
And I feel like we connected right away. We have some similar interests, one obviously being baseball, and I think others that we're going to kind of dive into in this podcast, but others like the way we think, a little bit about our faith, like kind of a higher power or belief that we have, things of that nature, which like really connected me or drew me into you.
Yes, sir.
And like what initially was like you were like questioning, had a lot of questions. You're very inquisitive, and you're trying to be like very insightful about the things you asked and trying to pick up a lot of information from anyone you saw. And I think that's always a cool quality for people. So you're always trying to learn, and you're like still in the midst of your baseball career. You're just about to go into like the next stage of your career, which could be pretty fucking amazing.
Yes, sir.
So let's welcome Kade Brewer to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to do it.
The people in the background are cheering.
Yeah.
I'm fired up. But before we get into all this other stuff, the good stuff about you, your journey, where your faith comes from, all that stuff, I want to ask you one specific question.
Yes, sir.
I start this podcast the same way every single time when I have a guest. I think this question is super important, especially between two males. Try to open up dialogue and honest conversation and really share actually how we feel. So I'm going to ask you this question. Hopefully you answer honestly if you want to, if you feel comfortable enough.
Yes, sir.
But how are you doing? Like for real?
At the beginning of the summer, it was pretty tough.
Yeah.
I would say that I went through probably the most challenging part of my life up to date, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As you know, I was a JUCO baseball player. I played 3 years. COVID hit, and I was talking to several, Division I schools. Had a good thing lined up, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. These schools are telling me to wait on the draft. They're telling me to do this, telling me to do that. I sent off transcripts, and then everything just disappeared. Mm-hmm. It's like these schools either ghosted me. They didn't talk to me anymore. They said hey, maybe next year. We'll see what happens with the pandemic. So that was just kind of the start. That was like the punch to the gut.
Yeah.
And then, I was in shock and excited at the same time, because like you said, we both believe in a higher power, both have our own kind of faith. And, I was just trying to continue that and say that I need to have faith. I need to trust the process. Yeah. I work too hard for something not to come out of it. And, I get to the fall, I'm doing pretty well. Feel some things in my swings. I'm not, exactly there. And, I still did well. And JUCO world, I don't know how much you know about the scheduling, but I mean,
JUCO not very much.
JUCO,
my
we
listeners
usually
don't either.
Yeah, well, we usually have, if you play JUCO baseball, you usually plan a full schedule in the fall, a full schedule in the spring.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you get 200 ABs in the spring, you're getting 150 in the fall.
Wow.
I mean, it's a lot. And
Sheesh.
so, I mean, but my JUCO is kind of hardcore, is how you could put it.
Okay.
I know that the JUCO world, for anybody who's out there listening that plays JUCO baseball or knows anybody in it, they're probably going to tell you the same thing. It's a crap hole.
Yeah. What school did you go to?
I went to Hill College.
Okay.
So.
And where's that located in?
In Hillsboro, Texas.
Okay.
So. I'm not trying to talk bad about Hill. I loved my experience there.
Yeah.
It just was added stress.
Sure.
Because of the third year there. And I'm an older guy too. So like, I didn't graduate high school till I was 19. So I think I told you that earlier in the summer. But because of that, I felt like my clock was kind of ticking a little bit faster than other people per se. So not necessarily, that age is like, bringing my competitiveness or my physical ability down, but on paper it looks good for a coach to say, hey, this guy's 18 years old, he's hitting this, he's doing that.
Yeah.
And then for me to be, I played at 22 years old for my third year the entire time, which is an old age, especially at JUCO. It's like, what coaches are really going to want to invest in me? So I felt like I had an extra bit of pressure on me to perform at a certain level, and that really affected things for me. So anyway, the fall.
Don't mind the chatter in the background.
Yeah,
we're at a baseball facility still.
the fall, like I said, was decent.
Wait, hold on. Before you go any farther, do you think the age added pressure is due to how society perceives that, especially in the athletic world? Like, someone reaches like 28, 29, 30, they're like, there's no way he can keep this up anymore. He's past his prime.
Yeah.
But in like outside of the sport world, 35, 40, 50 is super young. That's like at those points in your life, some people are just finding out what their passion is or what they're about to do. Like, I just listened to a podcast earlier, said at age 55, I figured out that I wanted to be a writer. And now at age 55 to 75, I've written 30 books. Mm-hmm. Right? But in the sports world, 55 is
non-existent.
But it can be. Yeah. Maybe not in like football, baseball, but like, what if you want to be a cyclist at 50?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? So I think that I maybe answering my own question, but is that where that came from? And
yeah. I just think that people that don't have this baseball knowledge, this sports background in general, it's hard for them to comprehend these kind of things.
Yeah.
That people are adding. It's added stress. It's, I played at Hill. We had foreign kids. I mean, a lot of foreign kids. Uh-huh. So, and then I'm watching pro baseball on TV.
Yeah.
And one of the stars is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
He's my age.
Right.
And he's making millions of dollars and playing at, my dream, playing at that level. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, baseball is a business, and it's a brutal business. I mean, I know people that have played in pro ball and that are still playing in pro ball, and they'll tell you firsthand that, I mean, it's a dream to be there, but
it's tough.
It's tough, and it's a punch in the face when you get traded or when you get cut off a team, and I mean, I've even dealt with that in select ball in high school. Right. I mean, I've had coaches just say, hey, we got a guy that's committed to this school. It's better than the school you're committed to. We're going to take him.
So we're going to take him.
Yeah. I mean, even though that I don't even necessarily have a chance to prove myself against that person, which in the competitive side of you and me both, I'm sure, just an athletic standpoint. And it's, I want to fight for my spot. I don't want it to just be taken up with no reasoning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like if we're battling out for a spot and we go hand in hand and you outplay me and outperform me, I might still be a little salty about it, but at least there's a reason that I can get behind.
Exactly.
And know that this is why it happened, and then go back to work on those specific areas. But if it's just like, this guy.
Yeah.
Like what? That doesn't teach anyone anything.
No.
So yeah, absolutely. Okay, go back to, before I interrupted you, go back to where you were at.
Yeah, so fall was decent. Christmas break, I got to spend, time in here. I got to so I'm gonna need to go back again one step.
Okay.
We do this thing called leg program. So it's a very
at Hill.
Yes, it's a very intense.
I remember telling us about this.
High rep, high weight. I think it's crazy. Mm-hmm. I've done it for 3 years though, so I can say I'm a survivor of it. I blew out a hip flexor because of it.
There we go. And you're a catcher.
And I'm a catcher, so
probably got pretty strong legs to begin with.
Yeah, that didn't help. I basically spent the entire Christmas break working out with Scott Reed.
He's been on the pod. People know him.
Yeah, not necessarily with him, but around getting advice, and then towards the end of Christmas break working out with him, and I saw massive just gains in overall strength over that Christmas break, and I was super pumped because I was like, man, even though it just felt like setback after setback almost.
Yeah.
And it's like 22 years old, third year at Hill College, like setback. Mm-hmm. Not the best fall that I could have asked for, and not as many games because of COVID. We only played like 12 or 15. We usually play 30. So not even half.
Yeah.
And, setback. Then hip flexor, setback. And it's like my goal was to be committed by the fall. and I didn't. So it's setback. So it's like all these things is boom, 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 happening, piling on top of me. And then, my parents are always loving and supporting of me, and so that helped. But it's also,
hey Dave,
that's also a thing to where it's like just me being prideful. It's like I want to make them happy too, and so it's like my goal is to be committed by the fall. That didn't happen. Like that's a disappointment, but I know that it's not.
That's a personal opinion only, right? Not if they're expressing that to you.
No, 100%. It's my personal opinion, and it's just me striving for something greater that I didn't get to achieve, and so that hurts. But spring happened, and spring was just brutal. I mean, it was bad. I couldn't find my swing. I had one offer in early spring, and in hindsight, thank goodness I didn't take it. But, I had like a full ride to UIW, and that was a fantastic offer. I just was trying to hold out and give myself a better opportunity to go to somewhere else that I really wanted to go to.
Right. That's what that faith plays in.
Yeah, and
your abilities and
I ended up getting all the way down to batting like 176, which for the non-baseball people around here. Sorry. I'm a huge Star Wars fan also. That was
like, what is that?
That was my ringtone. It's Darth Vader.
Your texting sound is Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
I'm so glad that happened. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I got all the way down to batting like 176, something like that. I mean,
so for the non-baseball people who listen, that's not good.
No, it's terrible.
That's tough.
So
you're having a rough go at it.
Yeah, and we didn't have much season left, and I kept on having people that are just like, like, screw it, dude. Like, just go out there and have fun. Go out there and have fun. And you hear that all the time. And it's honestly the best advice you can hear. But just with how my mindset works and how it's like so competitive, so driven, I'd put in all this work. I know I'm going to see the results. It was just like, one blow after the other, seeing it not happen. And so finally, I don't really know I can tell you some of the contributing factors. It was me being more open with my family. It was me being more open with my girlfriend, who I talked to you about. I mean, she's just an amazing, supportive, loving person also to me. And she's also a college softball player, so she's going through the exact same things.
She understands it.
So it's just my parents didn't play college sports. So
right.
But my dad was a pro golfer. So it's a little bit different. But my dad definitely knows the competitive side. My grandpa,
same kind of mindset.
Yeah, my grandpa coached forever. He played some pro basketball. Other grandparents were swimmers. Yeah. I mean, athleticism is in my family, competitiveness is in my family, but it's just a different connection when it's baseball, softball. Yeah. She's going through the exact same thing. So opened up with her, opened up with my brother, who's honestly probably my biggest influence. Sorry about that again, Darth Vader. But
it's gonna make me laugh every time.
And he played college baseball too.
Okay.
But he was a pitcher, so he went through the same kind of things, just on the pitching side of baseball. And then I read Green Light by Matthew McConaughey, and I'll tell you, I loved it. I listened to it on audio actually. Which was cool because I got to, he added extra commentary. It was his voice reading it to me, awesome. Well, that book kind of inspired me to, that book is composed of his journals.
Right.
So throughout his life, it's just like little excerpts of his journal entries, and he'll say, July 4th, 2001, this happened, whatever. But so that kind of inspired me, and I was trying to really, really reach out in my faith. And I was trying to say, like, God, this is the lowest point in my life. Like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm trying to strive for this Division I dream of mine, trying to reach this goal, and I'm batting 176. Yeah. I'm getting benched now, which has never happened.
Right.
Because I know that my defense can play. I mean, that's never been a struggle of mine, and I know that my offense can too. But it's like all of a sudden now my offense is down. Now I'm getting benched. Now I'm having my coaches kind of get in my butt a little bit more. It's like, and I'm used to that. I can take a butt chewing here and there.
Sure.
But it's demoralizing because of, it's like just all of these things happening, and this goal is getting further and further out of sight. And so the only thing I knew was to reach out to people and ask for help from my faith and ask for help from God.
Yeah.
And that Green Light book, honestly kind of spoke to me.
Did it spark it? Or
it sparked it. So
were you already reaching out to people beforehand or thinking that I need to, regroup my mindset or reach back into
I actually read the book first.
And then it happened.
And then it kind of kicked.
Yeah. Usually that's how it goes. Like something has to jumpstart something or ignite something in you that you already knew was inside of you, right? Something you already knew you had, but something outside of you saying, okay, now it's time to look inside.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and my dad, so the book along with my dad is what I'd say, and my brother, dad and brother, they both were just like, basically telling me the same thing. Like, you have the ability, you have the drive, you've put in the work, you just have to let it play. And you have to, and my dad always says, clear the mechanism. You got to clear your head. You have to just let what your body knows it can do it.
Trust.
And so, have trust and have faith. And so that kind of sparked it. Well, basically after I read the book, I bought my own journal off of Amazon, like literally within the next couple of days. And so I started writing in that. And I just wrote down basically saying one of my dreams, and I've wanted my entire life because of my dad, because of my brother, the great influences they are on me, and my grandparents, the impact they had on me as a child.
Right.
Is I just, one of the goals I'm looking forward to in life is being a father. So, and that was one thing that Matthew McConaughey talks about in his book, is that was the only thing in life he knew he truly wanted to do, was be a father.
Was be a dad.
So in this journal, I wrote down on the first page, kind of saying, I want this to be a tool for not only me, but I want it to be a tool for my children in the future.
Yeah. To
be able to look back and read and see me at my lowest point, because I was very prepared to write down and open up about, this low point in my life. And if I can get through that low point and document it in real time, and for my kids, one day if they're ever going through any type of struggle, that they can go back and read and see how low I was and how I crawled out of it, or how, something I did, something I prayed about, something, that influenced me, helped me. Hopefully that can be a tool for them to use in the future one day too.
Yeah.
So I basically wrote that in my own words on the first page, and I just said I want this to be a tool of faith, and I want this to be, a tool of reaching out for help.
Yeah.
So I just started writing in it, and I just started writing, all the crap I was going through. I started writing down, I was like, I'm batting 176, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. No schools are talking to me. I don't know what to do. And then on the flip side of that, which I've talked to you about a lot, is I started just claiming things over my life, which I've always been a very goal-oriented person anyway. Like, I have a dry erase board in my room, dorm room, and I wrote down, like, I want to bat this for the season. I want to hit this many home runs. I want to squat this much. I want to bench this much. I want to read a book.
Yeah.
Even small things. I even wrote down 1 month. I even wrote down make my bed every day. And it's funny because I saw your Instagram post about that the other day.
Yeah.
I liked it. Is make your bed in the morning and you've already accomplished one thing.
3 things to change your life.
Yes. So, I mean, I did. And so writing those things down in that journal, finding scriptures that would help me, claiming success, claiming just me being prosperous, me being faithful, just hedges of protection around me, just my faith in general.
Yeah.
And just claiming these things over my life, and not only claiming them, but believing that it'll happen.
Yeah.
And, I know that life happens and sometimes things don't work out.
Sure,
but at least I'm trying is my deal. And at least I'm having faith in the right things.
Just got to keep showing up.
Yeah. So basically, long story short, I ended up coming out of that in the spring pretty soon after that, which happened later than what I would liked it to.
It did happen.
But it did happen. I ended up batting like 295.
Just so you know, it happened at the perfect time.
Yes. I ended up batting 295 in conference, which isn't terrible, but it's not what I wanted.
We'll take it.
I batted like 270 overall,
Okay.
which is still a little bit lower, but it's not bad. And then, school ended, and I still had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And I just...
School ended what month? Your season ended in May.
Yeah, May.
Okay.
I think it was like May 8th was our last game, actually.
Okay.
May 8th. And so season ended, and we didn't even make regional. So we, packed it up and went home May 8th, and I had no idea what I was going to do. So
what was your initial thought there? Was it, I'm for sure going to play baseball somewhere, or this could potentially be my last game at a high level ever?
I would say that earlier in the season, that thought came across my mind where it was going to be the last game, but late, I knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, you had like an intuition, some gut feeling that chips were going to fall your way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly, and it was just my confidence just changed. After doing and taking those steps that I was just talking about, it's those things changed and different things happened in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm having more confidence when I'm in the box.
Yeah.
Talking to my friends even, it's just like I feel a little bit happier. I feel a little bit lighthearted. I feel like back to my normal self. Usually, I'm a super social person. I mean, usually all my friends come over to my room to hang out and talk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, there's not much to do at a junior college than
hang out with your friends. Yeah.
So I started to feel more like myself, and honestly, after that game and during that game, I just, I knew something was going to happen. Is it the Division I deal I was looking for? At that time, I didn't know, and I didn't really care. But, it ended up working out how it did, and now early June, I ended up committing to the University of Houston, which is huge.
Fucking awesome.
And my dad's from Houston, and so he's always told me that he's like always just kind of had thought in the back of his mind that one of his kids was going to go play at either Houston or Rice, and Rice was talking to me, and they're the ones that dropped off during COVID.
Okay.
So that was kind of ironic too, I guess, that it was one school that my dad thought about, left, and then the next school that my dad almost forgot about but always knew
exists,
came and took a chance. So I just kept on working out, and I took the initiative because I believe that God can perform miracles. I believe that faith is a real thing, but He also gives us this ability to take action on it.
Exactly.
So you can have faith all you want, but if you just sit around, nothing's going to happen.
You got to do the work.
So, and that's something that my dad my grandparents, I've just had a whole bunch of really good male role models,
Support
honestly.
system is really,
So, I mean, they're just saying, you just got to keep on being persistent and keep on doing the hard work that you're putting in, and something's going to pay off eventually, whether it's the exact thing you want or something that you never saw coming. So I literally emailed probably 80 to 100 schools, easily. And I just copy and pasted the same email. I didn't even care if they needed a catcher or not. I was just going back and forth. And a couple days later, my head coach at Hill texts me, and he's like, "Hey, Houston just called me, trying to talk you up for him, whatever." And I was like, no way that because they hit me back on email.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, if you have some video, send it our way." So I sent them video. I didn't really think anything of it. I was just kind of sitting there on my computer. I was like, oh, hey, Dad, Houston emailed me. I'm going to send him video real quick. And I wasn't trying to get my hopes up or anything, but I just kept on, working out here, hitting. I was about to start my summer league, that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, my head coach at Hill calls me and tells me these things. And he's like, they should be calling within the next day or two. Well, like a week passed. I was like, gosh,
Damn.
man, I hope they call. I hope they call. And then all of a sudden, Coach Rooney over at the University of Houston calls me, and he's like, hey, I've heard all these great things about you from not only your coach at Hill, but other coaches in your conference, which my conference is stacked. If also the people out there listening, if you don't know what Region 5 junior college baseball is, it's like the best junior college baseball you can play in the U.S. So McLennan just won the World Series, and they're in our conference. I'm talking probably, I'm pretty sure they're creeping up on over 100 draft picks within the last 30 years, something like that. It's crazy.
Wow.
So, we have Grayson, McLennan, Weatherford, Temple, all these big names that you always hear about in the baseball world. They're in our conference, and apparently these schools were talking to Houston saying, somehow, some way, I, left a mark wherever I played.
For sure.
And so he's like, hey, these coaches are recommending you. I loved your video. We need an older JUCO guy to come in, which was hilarious in my opinion, because I was like,
that's something you were super worried about.
Yeah, I was like, well,
now a positive.
I'm old. I'll take it.
It's now something that people are looking for.
Yeah, which
how
was
that
crazy.
works out.
Which was crazy.
How that works out.
And he's like, we need an older JUCO guy with experience to come in and take over our pitching staff and be a leader. And their starting catcher for the past 4 years, Kyle Lovelace, he said was either going to get drafted or enter the portal. He entered the portal. Another guy that kind of played behind Lovelace has entered the portal also. So as far as I know, they're left with a freshman and me, and probably a high school kid that they're bringing in. Yeah. So, it's massive opportunity for me. All I got to do is show up and play like I know I can play, and I'll succeed. So it just all these stars kind of aligned for me, and it was just this huge relief. All this weight came off my shoulders. I felt at peace the whole time. I felt at peace after May 8th, after that last game. It was just weird. It was like, in my opinion, it was just, God saying, hey, it's okay. Something's going to happen.
Right.
So I just, trusted the process, trusted the hard work I put in, and all of a sudden, this opportunity comes up, and now I'm going to continue to, live my dream. Yeah. Play Division I baseball, and play Division I baseball for a good school, a historically awesome school.
Amazing.
So...
yeah, because when they called you, right, they invited you out to a tryout as well, right?
Yeah, so they told me to come do a workout.
You did a tryout. Talk about that.
Yeah, so it was about a week and a half after the first phone call. We talked several times in between that, but they told me to come out, and they're like, hey, come out. There's going to be some guys that are already committed here from high school. Might be a couple other JUCO guys. We just want to see you work out in front of us. So I was pumped. My dad was supposed to come with me. He ended up having big conference stuff that he had to go to. So my dad's awesome. He bought this the hotel on campus, the Cougar Hotel or whatever it is. Got me a room in there. The hotel was sweet. Got there a day before. Got there on a Tuesday. The workout was on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And I just prayed with my parents over the phone. Prayed with my girlfriend over the phone that night, and I think that everybody was just in agreement, and it was just weird because I had that same sense of peace. It was just there was no doubt in my mind that I was about to just go off the next day, and my swing still hadn't been feeling 100%.
Yeah. And
I was just like, screw it, I know I'm gonna hit. And I got there, and the first thing that we did was BP, and I was just launching balls. So, I was hitting home runs with a wood bat. I was hitting home runs with a metal bat. peppering, all sides of the field. And, I just had really good pop times. My arm felt crazy strong that day. I felt like I was throwing like lasers down to second. We did like a controlled inner squad. The only thing I was worried about that I did that I thought I didn't do well was hit true opposite field during that BP session.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened the very first pitch in this controlled inner squad that they did, which was like the coach throwing basically a little bit faster than BP speed to us with the live defense.
Sure.
And I just smoked a double right over the right fielder's head. And it was a laser beam. And I was just, after I hit that, I was like, there's no way I'm not going here.
Yeah.
And they took us around like this tour of their brand new facility, which was crazy. And a JUCO guy, I've never seen anything like that. I had to buy my own stinking jersey at my JUCO. And then they're taking me around this like multi-million-dollar facility in left field, and there's like mannequins with jerseys on them, and this crazy locker room with like PlayStations, and a nutrition center where they have all the drinks. They have a weight room upstairs.
Of course.
And they have a...
Got to get your buff and fluff in.
Yeah. They have a golf simulator up there. They're like, we want our guys to just be able to come in here and have fun and relax. And I was like, I suck at golf, which is surprising because my dad's a golf pro.
Right.
Or was a golf pro. But, that sounds sweet. So the head coach, Coach Whitting, kind of pulled me off to the side, and he was like, hey, we loved everything we saw. You're going to get a phone call from Rooney tonight. Thanks for coming out. And I, as soon as I got out of, earshot of the facility, I called my dad and I was like,
crushed it.
They're calling tonight. I just hit so many bombs during BP. Like, it was nuts. And I was like, I wish you could have been here. And, I can just hear the almost bringing up tears and happiness in his voice. And it was just, that was like the other sense of peace. And it was like heartwarming. And I was like, man, he's so proud. He's so happy. So he ended up calling me that night and asking me for transcripts and called me the next day. And I committed. So it was huge. Yeah. So I'm great now. I'm great. But it was definitely a rough patch.
I love how that one question, I only asked you one question.
Yeah.
We've been talking for 30 minutes. That's where it led. That's so great.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the point of that question. Like, because we use it so often just to say hello, when I could just say, hey.
Yeah.
Or hi. But when I ask, how are you doing? Like, I still get in the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I almost say, hey, what's up? How are you?
Yeah.
Do I mean that question? Like, do I have time for him to actually answer that question for real?
Well, you said be honest, so I was being honest with you.
I loved it. No, I loved it. And so I think, like, if we can actually use that question in a way to have this kind of conversation, especially between guys or teammates,
for sure,
or boys in locker rooms, right? Then actually know what's going on with you. Mm-hmm. And even if a coach were to ask you that question, he could know what's going on with you, so he could better help you perform or get out of whatever funk you're in or whatever.
100%.
Like, actually having an honest dialogue with someone and connecting with them on a deeper level, gets you to know them better. And for coaches out there, the better you know your players, the more you're going to get out of them, because there's that trust, there's that bond. Then you kind of know their personality traits, so you know what words and what language to use. Some people want to be motivated by being screamed at. Some people want to be taken out to the side and had a one-on-one conversation. Like, there's so many different things, but that's the point of that question. So I'm super glad you answered it like that.
Yeah.
And I'm super pumped that you're playing at University of Houston.
I am too.
It's fucking sick. But my school, my alma mater, South Dakota State University, they did hit you up at one point.
Yes, they did.
Didn't they?
Yes. So they...
You didn't want to fucking go there, man? What's up? Huh?
They
Sorry, we don't have $1 million
emailed
new indoor facility or whatever you got at Houston. We supply jerseys, though.
That is good.
You don't have to buy a jersey.
I'm telling you, anybody that would say, hey, you don't have to buy a jersey, I considered. So it was everything was in play for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they actually emailed me like right when Rooney called me.
Super cool.
It was just like literally that day. And I emailed him back and I was like, hey, I'm kind of talking to the University of Houston, but if this doesn't work out, I'm interested.
Yeah.
So we kind of kept tabs a little bit, but then the Houston thing happened almost so fast.
Which is sick.
And
I would have freaked out.
Awesome.
If I came here, we started getting to know each other, and you're like, yeah, I just committed to South Dakota State.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? That's super cool. So, good. Great. So now I have another question for you.
Yes, sir.
We talked about this a little bit the other day with Justin, who also works here. Now, you're about to be a Division I athlete. Mm-hmm. You are a Division I athlete. They just changed the rule, right? That you can make money off your name,
yes, sir,
your image, and your likeness. Now, first question for you is, are you already someone who's on social media, who posts on social media? 1. 2, what do you think about the whole name, image, and likeness? Mm-hmm. And, yeah, where do you see it going with you or with just the college athletics in general?
Yeah. So I might have a little different response than other people, but I do have social media. Mm-hmm. I post on it. I wouldn't say that I'm like any type of influencer or anything.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at my social media page, it's like me and my girlfriend or trips or something.
Great.
Or me and my family. But
showing the love.
Yeah. The name, image, and likeness, though, I think is huge, and I'm 100% behind it. That's for sure. But on the flip side, mm-hmm, is I can see where people get mad. I can see where the average student, I can see where alumni, I can see even, where past baseball players or past sports athletes that just graduated, they're looking back saying, why now?
Right.
Why not when I was there?
Sure.
And, you take a look at college nowadays, college tuition, just the schoolwork now. I mean, it's insane. Is how much of a load some of these degree programs put on people, which is good. Mm-hmm. At least you're getting a good education. But if you think about it, it's just like you're going through. So for an athlete, I'll just give you my schedule at Hill because that's the only thing I can base it off of, mm-hmm, truly. But I mean, my schedule at Hill was wake up at 5:30, run 3 miles at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Do team abs, then do team breakfast, then go back, shower if you have time, go to class, yeah, from probably 8:30 until 11. Barely have time to maybe grab a protein shake, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Go eat lunch, and then basically at my school, and I'm sure at almost any school, you're looked at bad if you don't show up early for early work.
Right.
So, which is a thing that
early outs are not voluntary.
Yeah.
Unless you legit have class, but then you're like, you should have changed your schedule because, at least at my school, right? Athletes get the first pick of classes.
Yeah.
So like, you could have picked it. And I was like, oh. Anyways, go ahead.
So yeah, and me personally, it was just part of my routine. So I felt like I did myself a disservice if I didn't get out there early.
Yeah.
So I'm out at the field. Practice doesn't start till 1. I'm out at the field at 11:45, 12, and I'm taking hacks. So then at JUCO, we don't have any. We have rules, but whatever. Nobody really follows those.
You can
rules.
practice as much as you want.
Yeah. So we practice from basically since I get there 11:45, 12 until 4:35, and that's a good day.
That's light.
It's like that's a light day. And then we hop in the weight room for about an hour. Then you're basically, I'm in a dorm. I don't have a kitchen or anything.
Right.
So you barely make caf, at which the cafeteria food is terrible. And I'm sure that's everywhere.
Yeah.
But you're basically just trying to survive, or make like a smoothie in your dorm, something. And then from about 7:30 until 10, you're doing homework, studying.
Right.
So on that point, the reason why I bring that up is because for an athlete, I would love for somebody to tell me when I can work. I would love to. I would love to work when I'm trying to pay for school.
Yeah.
But when could I? I even had friends that did Uber Eats from like 11 to like 1 a.m.
No way.
Just to make money.
Just to try to get some extra cash.
Yeah. And so it's like, when does a college athlete have time between being a student athlete, student first? When do you have time to make money? So my argument to an average student not liking that rule would be that it's like you have a chance to do a job. Our sport is our career.
Right.
Our sport is our job. Whether you want to, it's fun, you're doing this. I get that. It is fun. And it's, for a lot of people, it's paying for school. And so the tuition isn't really a factor. But you can help pay tuition by whatever job you choose. Whether that's working at freaking Chipotle or whether that's, working in a warehouse, which I have friends that do that. They work in warehouses to pay for college, which, just shows the grind of what everybody has to do. But that's just nowadays, in my opinion, it's just the theme nowadays is people don't want to, they're like, well, you're getting school paid for because you're an athlete. That's not fair.
Right.
Well, I'm also have a full-time job.
Yeah.
That's my full-time job is me being an athlete. So, if you're getting school paid for, all I have to do is go work. Because if I go work now, I'm putting in the exact same amount of hours that you are. You're just on the field. I'm in a building.
Yeah.
So, but well, I get it. I get the why people are mad.
Sure.
That could be an argument. I get why the average student would be like, well, I have to work my butt off for scholarships. I can't sign some $2 million deal with a cell phone company to pay for college.
Well, they can.
All right, they can.
They can.
Yeah,
that's the thing, though. They can. Like, an athlete before the news came out could not have a YouTube channel that they monetized off of.
That's true. That's true.
Could not have any of those things. If I'm an engineer at University of Houston, I can start a YouTube channel about engineering, and I can make money off that.
Well, you're 100% right. I didn't even think about that.
So, as a regular student, you can get paid for your name, image, and likeness. Always.
Yeah, always.
There's just, like, if you go to the University of Alabama, of course, the starting quarterback is the most well-known person.
Oh, yeah.
And so, obviously, if he starts a YouTube channel, it blows up immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's the same. I went to South Dakota State University. No one cared about our baseball team.
Yeah.
I might go to the local ice cream shop and be like, here, Aaron, here's an ice cream. You had a good game last night. Thank you. I can now accept that ice cream.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But I'm not going to get the $2 million Adidas contract because I played at South Dakota State. But what I can do is I can start a vlog about my baseball team. 56-game season about the season. And then it goes on my YouTube channel. Every single game goes on my YouTube channel. And now YouTube's like, oh, this fucking vlog is sick. Now I'm going to monetize it. Now you put ads in front of it. The same person who's in the business department can do that. The same person who's in the engineering department can do that. But
100%.
those two people can also get investors.
Yeah.
Or go do paid internships.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying it's never going to be equal. Like, there's too many different complexities. There's too many different variables. There's too many different schools, too many different people, right? But what is equal is your opportunity to put yourself out there on a platform to grow. Like, 100%. I'm on social media all the time. I post every single day, and my platform is cool. Like, some people check it out, right?
Yeah.
Could always be bigger, right? Could always have more followers, but that's not the point.
Entrepreneurship.
Right.
I mean, that's you working to create a successful life for yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what everybody should and is trying to strive for.
Yeah.
And so I think, like what you're saying, I mean, I think it's awesome that these college athletes get a chance.
Have a chance.
To, start that entrepreneurship a little bit earlier than the average student could, because you can't start, I mean, other than making a brand that has no affiliation to your school, no affiliation to your name, nothing.
Right.
Other than making some kind of clothing brand, which costs money.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe, there might be a couple loopholes here and there.
Sure.
I mean, you can't do anything. It's
Exactly.
impossible. So I think that it's cool. I mean, I think that college sports are viewed as much, if not more, than pro sports. I mean, I don't even like watching pro sports, honestly. I mean, my dad's from Houston.
Yeah.
Houston Astros were the very first baseball team I ever went and saw in person. I'll always, support them. But, I mean, how much of a household name is Jose Altuve compared to Trevor Lawrence at Clemson?
Yeah.
You know,
Trevor Lawrence already signed a $35 million deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, can you imagine these college, especially football, because football is the biggest market in America.
Yeah.
But especially in football, can you imagine that these little 9-year-old kids, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, have you seen, you know, Kyler Murray? Have you seen Trevor Lawrence? Have you seen all these guys? And they're talking about him. They're like, he has this stat, this stat, this stat, this stat. Well, now, instead of these little kids just being able to talk about these things, watch him on TV, now they get to buy his jersey with his name on it. Now they get to, you know, if he wants to make the YouTube channel, social media is huge, especially for young kids.
Right.
Now they get to watch his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And now he gets to profit off that because of his success on and off the field. Now, I could also see the downside on aligning yourself with somebody who, you know, you shouldn't align with.
Right.
Which is a tough thing that pro athletes have to deal with anyway.
That's the point I was going to get to also, is like now people are going to be really coming after these athletes. And so you really have to be smart with your decision making and your brand and who you are, and like,
which is going to be tough.
Right? That's why it really comes down to who you are as a human being and what do you want that your name, image, and likeness to represent.
Exactly.
That's why it's about a personal brand, because it's who you are. Are you about God? Are you about family? Are you about faith? Are you about working out? Are you about football? Like whatever it is that's really down to your core.
You really have to make sure that
that's what you should be representing, and that's what the people who are representing you are also about. That's why being an entrepreneur or having the autonomy and those skills being taught in university, which they should, are super important, because now I have the freedom to do what I want while also being of service to other people, right? And that's really the whole point of this. So, like, I don't know. Of course, there's going to be some kinks working it out. Of course, there's going to be some things that happen. There's people who be rightfully upset and thinks that things should go in the other direction. Of course, all that's super valid. But there is good stuff to it, I think. And people need to look at that stuff too, and the overarching theme of like what it represents and how it can help people like build a life.
Did you happen to watch that movie I told you about, the safety movie?
I haven't.
You haven't? So that's another thing. Is, if I don't know if you remember me talking to you about it, but it's about a Clemson like football player. I forgot what position he played. Safety. The name of the movie. Safety.
Okay.
That was dumb. Anyway, basically he's just from straight poverty, and his mom was a drug addict and had to go to rehab to fix and change her life. And basically his little brother, he didn't want to send him to foster care, and he fought the NCAA, ended up like signing papers saying that he was technically the legal guardian and nothing could change about him and his brother living together in this apartment. But during the movie, it's like people from the local church are helping him. The head football coach's wife is like driving the kid to school. Stuff like that, which is all NCAA violation. It's like violation. And he had no idea. He just thought these people were being nice.
Yeah. And
he was accepting. He was like, thank you that somebody's finally helping me through this process that's, you know, life-changing. And now that's okay. And now you can profit from some of those things. Maybe you could align with a church.
Right.
And they could help, you know, say that's a similar situation for some kid. Maybe they can align with the church and that church can provide help. So I think that that's another awesome thing that could be, you know, I don't know if that's a loophole or not, but maybe that's maybe that's a thing that
I don't know the ins and outs.
That could help a kid dramatically throughout his college life.
For sure.
And help his family. So, you know, I think that it has a chance to get people out of poverty, which is awesome. I mean, especially, you know, these football players, basketball players, baseball players that just come out of these bad situations and bad home lives. You know, now they have a chance to sign a deal with Nike.
Early,
and now they're having a chance to start a whole new life and a whole new culture for their family, which is
put
awesome.
their family down a different path.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Yeah, I'm very interested in the space and where it goes, and maybe getting involved with some of the companies that I have, but we'll see. It's cool, man. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I want to ask you maybe one or two more questions.
Yeah.
Let's see what comes. But if what would you say to someone who's kind of towing the line of like thinking about their faith and maybe God, maybe some of those words are, like, some people don't really like those words. I don't know why, but it's like the same as like believing in the universe. Or,
Scary. Fear.
Spirituality, or they all mean the same thing,
Yeah.
just whatever context you use them in, but they all mean the same thing. What would you say to someone maybe who is thinking about, learning more about it, or kind of wants to dive in deeper to it? Any advice?
I would say just the simple answer to that is one word, and for me, that would be help.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whether that's help from family, friends, church, but I think the simplest, most pure form of that questioning, maybe you've already been to church, maybe you know the idea, maybe you grew up in a family, but you're questioning it, something, ask for help. I think that's just something that you have to be willing to tell yourself, willing to accept, but also ask for the right kind of, courage and eyesight to be able to take the doors that are opened up. But I would just say, when I was down that low, and I don't think that I ever really got to a point where I was questioning my faith, because I think that that's a pretty, sturdy foundation in my life.
Right.
But it's still low and it's still miserable. But the biggest word that I could do is just, when I was praying, is say, help.
Yeah.
A prayer doesn't have to be, saying, like, quoting all these memorized scriptures that you have to, like, get down on your knees, face a certain direction. I don't know what you do.
Right.
But I think that for me, my life and my personal relationship with God, in my opinion, is just, it's have a personal relationship. It's not, I gotta check this. It's, I want to have my personal relationship. I want to be able to, of course, there's, things that I kind of like have in my mind, like whenever I pray, I kind of like, first thing I want to do is I want to thank God for the things that he's done.
Right.
For me, or just in general.
Just in general.
But, in my opinion, it's just, you have to build your own salvation. So it's not necessarily whatever you do to have a successful life with your religion. It is probably not the same as what I do for my successful life. But what is the same is that we're both having faith in a higher being. We're both loving. The greatest of these is love. Mm-hmm. So
that's exactly right.
Whenever I'm showing you love, whenever I'm showing my parents love, I mean, that's faith. That's God. Right. I mean, that's the higher being that you want to believe in. But I just think that it's not necessarily, don't dive into the theological, don't dive into the steps, the check marks. It's dive into you. Dive into that personal relationship. Dive into saying help. Dive into saying, show me something. Yeah. Like, don't lightning bolt strike down.
No,
that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But show me,
There's always signs. We just
show me, show me a way that you are helping me.
Right.
Something like that. So I would say that's what I do. That's the biggest thing for me. And, I didn't come to learn that for a long time. And that had to do with my mom. Just words of advice from her.
Yeah.
And then also the church that we go to. And that was like and it was actually a sermon I went to with my girlfriend. And that was like the biggest thing. It was like, God is right there. All you have to do is say, help.
Exactly.
Whatever you need help in, at least you know that you have some type of faith, some type of belief in something higher than yourself, and that thing wants to help you.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Beautiful. Do you think that men, boys, have a hard time asking for help?
For sure. And I'm 100% guilty of that. Yeah. I mean, it's prideful. And that's just how we are. Like I want to do things on my own. I want to take care of, if my mom needs help with something, I want to take care of it for her. If my girlfriend needs help with something, I want to take care of it for her. But also, and I'm not just trying to say female, if my brother needs help, I want to be there for him.
Right.
But if I need help, that's when it gets a little sticky. It's like, I need help. Sometimes you don't want to ask for it. And that's something that I've definitely, within this hard time that I went through, is I've learned that, you just got to kind of throw that out of the window.
Yeah.
Because, it's the definition of insanity, keep on doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So something's got to change.
Has to.
And, that's something you might be able to take care of by yourself, maybe. But, what is it going to hurt to ask and have a separate opinion?
Right.
So, I think that that's something that kind of hit me during this time that we've been talking about, where I was struggling throughout the season, is just asking for help, and it was kind of hard.
Of course.
Kind of hard to ask for help because, I know I can do it. I know that I have the tools. I know that I have the strength, the ability, but something's just got to click up here.
Yeah.
And so once you ask for help, and once you have all these people, this love and this support, it's like, boom, something clicks.
Boom, and it leads you where you should be.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, nobody does anything great alone, right?
No, for sure.
But it's like individual in your efforts, right? You have to actually put in the work.
Yeah.
Like every day, constantly making a commitment to yourself. But then support and guidance and help are all necessary tools in your toolbox when you're committing to yourself, and committing then something larger than yourself, which is, what we all should be striving for, like that big purpose that kind of pushes us forward,
Yes,
every
sir.
single day,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, great.
Thank you.
Feel good?
Yeah, I feel great.
You have any last minute thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Oh, I did want to touch on something. When you were talking about claiming scripture,
Yeah.
it reminded me about how I teach confidence to some of my clients. And it's very, very similar. And so it's just about what words, what phrasing. Like if you don't like the word prayer, try meditation. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't like faith, talk about spirituality. If you don't like the word God, you have a weird relationship with that, talk about the universe. And it's the same thing with you claiming scripture. I was thinking about, that's exactly how I talk about confidence to my athletes. It's like, confidence isn't solely based on your past experiences. Like you get a little bit of confidence from your past success, sure, but it's mostly about how you speak to yourself. And when you were telling me about some of the scriptures that you've claimed about victory and success, I'm saying those are the exact statements that I want to be telling myself, maybe when I'm going into something challenging, or maybe when I'm having a hard day, or maybe when I wake up, or maybe when I'm praying, or maybe when I'm going into AB. It's the same kind of confident, tangible, real things that we say to ourselves that lift our spirits up and give us that kind of edge. It is an edge, right? Because a lot of people aren't focusing on their mental, right? So it is actually an edge. And so I wanted to make that comparison. That's kind of all of these things are interconnected. They're all very similar. It's just like, what words do you use that resonate with you?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. That's, like I told you not too long ago, that's something that I've also recently learned. And it's just, it's become huge in my family. And it's funny if you think about these things, because it's like, this is taking it to another kind of side, but it's like, think about how many times a day, especially, I'm going to just put it in a baseball's perspective since we're playing baseball.
Yeah.
You take a bad swing, you go, I suck. Or, you're cussed, you're like, whatever, just saying, like, why am I bad? I'm so bad, that kind of thing. Or you're not the best reader, and you're like, if somebody asks you if you like to read, you're like, no, I suck at reading.
Right.
You're just constantly what am I trying to say? Like reaffirming the fact that you suck at reading. So how do you expect to get better at reading when you're constantly, your mind is telling your body, your mind is telling your spirit that you suck at something when you don't.
Right.
And so it's just like, and it's things like that, little things that you don't even realize you're saying throughout the day, that's like just these negative blows to your own spirit, to your own body, to your own mind. And it's really made me more aware
Mm-hmm.
of what I'm saying, because, sometimes, or even if you talk bad about somebody, like you're talking bad about somebody else playing baseball. I don't know how he's going there. He
Right.
sucks. Why look at, don't look at the speck in another person's eye, look at the needle in your own eye. Mm-hmm. And more scripture.
Right.
But it's just these things that we say, it's just force of habit. For some reason, we love to talk bad about ourselves. We love to, it's just easy. If somebody is fat, they're like, oh yeah, I'm fat. Which is fine. And it's
a defense mechanism
self-acknowledgement.
to start, right? So no one else is going to attack them for the things they already state.
Exactly. But it's just like all these things, it's like negative. And it's something that I've really enjoyed, and it's a great thing that I've switched, because I'm really aware of what I say now.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's the scriptures that I claim. It's like 2 Samuel 8:6. It's I have victory wherever I go. It's something super easy. And whether you like scripture, whether you don't like scripture, but I really liked what you said about the mental reps. It's just like working out. You have to take mental reps, and
Have to.
I asked you about that because I didn't quite understand what you meant by mental repetitions. But now that you explained it to me, and you sit down and you think. So like now when I shower in the morning, I've been doing that. Mm-hmm. I've been taking mental reps, in my opinion. Yeah. It's like, not only am I visualizing success, I'm also telling myself I'm successful. I'm telling myself I'm prosperous. And it's like these other YouTube channels that I watch and these books that I read, it's like, that's the difference between the people that are successful and the people that aren't.
Yeah.
Is they manifest it, they
It's
believe
just a
it,
quick
they meditate on it.
shift. It's a quick
And that doesn't mean that you have to be cocky about it. That doesn't mean I walk around and I'm like, I'm better than you. That kind of thing. It just means that in my being, in my heart, in my mind, I'm telling myself that I'm these great things. And
Right.
so if your mind's a powerful thing, man. If you tell yourself that you're good at these things and you truly just keep on repeating it, whether you truly believe it or not, it's gonna happen. You're going to end up believing it.
Yeah.
If I tell myself I'm a great hitter, which I do in the mornings now, I'm like, man, I'm a great hitter.
Let's go, baby.
I have this feel all the time, like, because I have this, I can visualize right now this feel that it's like right here and it's smooth, and whenever I'm hitting good, I feel it.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, I want this feeling all the time.
Right.
If I can just feel that all the time. So now in the mornings when I shower, I'm just like, where's that feel? I visualize it. I can see it. I can feel it. And then I, claim those scriptures over myself, over my life. And I think that's a game changer.
Yeah.
It's huge. And I just think that it's something that society doesn't know about. I didn't know about it. It's not a common way of thinking. It's not a common way of a thought process.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's exactly why the people that have these kinds of mindsets, these kinds of perspectives, these kinds of outlook on life have usually came from a low spot.
Yeah.
Like something was really bad, they were struggling, or something tragic happened, or they had trauma, and there was really nothing else for them to do except for them to change the way they view things, think about their mind, think about their outlook. And that's why the people who talk about this stuff so much, about the power of the mind and manifestation and the way you look at life, have so much compassion for people who don't look at it that way yet, because they know that those people are going through something and it hasn't yet clicked yet that they need this kind of thing in their life that's going to bring them out of what they're struggling with. It's going to give them the higher power, the faith.
It's truly a powerful thing.
And so I think that's where we're at. I think that's a good stopping point.
That is.
You got any closing remarks, thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, funny stories?
No, just thank you. Thank you for having me on. Love talking to you.
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
We'll keep on working on everything.
Yeah, when this episode drops, when do you go back to school?
Probably August 10th.
So this would be pretty close, because we're in July.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So this episode will drop right around the time you go to school.
Perfect.
So all my fans will be cheering you on at fucking University of Houston.
Awesome.
Getting ready to get after it.
Heck yeah.
Also, check out my man's hat, right? Boom. Shop4everybody.com. Thanks.
Yeah.
A little promotional material. But if you watch this and you liked it, share it with a friend. Maybe share it with someone who might be struggling, who might need a little something to uplift them, or share it with a baseball player. But appreciate you watching. Thank you. and good luck to Kade.
Yeah, thank you for having me.